I am at OSCON. I am here with David Blado, who is the PaaS Evangelist for Redhat. So, David, can you tell me a little bit about Redhat's PaaS strategy in general and OpenShift in particular?
Yeah, sure. So right now OpenShift is two products, Express and Flex, with another one, Power, coming sometime later this year, maybe next year. And what we're doing is we're providing a way for developers to very quickly onboard applications into the cloud. So Express supports command line tools, very developer-friendly, developer-centric. Things like Python, Ruby, Java's coming very soon, and Python, Ruby, Perl, PHP. People have deployed apps like Django, the Python framework for app development, Rails, Ruby development framework, and I mean we're just at this point, trying to just get a lot of developers using the platform. We're listening to developers, we're listening to what they want, to what they need, and hopefully we're meeting their needs and providing them the platform that they need to succeed.
If my understanding is right, like the Express version is for so individual developers and startups, and the Flex version is for enterprises, right?
Yeah,
what are the difference in features between these two versions?
So right now Flex there's a graphical interface around Flex that developers or DevOps folks can use to deploy applications on top of JBoss, Apache, Tomcat. And what they can do with these applications is they can auto-scale them, so nodes are added to clusters as the application demands more resources, and then nodes are removed from the cluster when the application doesn't demand the same level of resources. Basically what it allows people to do is deploy on cloud computers without actually needing to pay for a bank of 10. They're only paying for the servers that they need at the time. So 3 o'clock in the morning you need one server to run your app, 4 o'clock in the afternoon you might need a dozen.
So, okay, this is about the servers running the middleware. What about other related things you need for your scaling, like load balancers and stuff like that? Will I be able to manage from the same dashboard, or do I need to have a system admin taking care of all those things?
Yeah, so we kind of have a view of the load balancer as nobody really cares about it. It doesn't need to be anything special. All it does need to do is spread the load over the nodes in the cluster. So we automatically create an elastic load balancer for you and manage it behind the scenes. You never have to see it. You don't have to dork around with it. No configuration. Nodes are automatically joined and unjoined from the load balancer as they come and go from your cluster.
So I understand Redhat's OpenShift platform is an evolution from Makara acquisition. Can you give me some feedback on what went behind the screens?
Yeah, so Redhat acquired Makara back in November 2010, and basically we've been, for the most part, left alone. We kind of joined forces with the OpenShift Express team, and at the time it wasn't even called the OpenShift. We just knew we knew what our end game was, that we wanted to help developers onboard applications into the cloud. We knew that we needed to have a free model that developers could do without incurring any costs in the cloud. So that's what Express was, and beyond that, we just needed to make sure that the OpenShift product as a whole seemed and felt like one contiguous product as developers moved from Express to Flex.
I see the PaaS space sort of having different kind PaaS players at different levels. So one I see is the hosted PaaS like Heroku. The other one is Cloud Foundry's more federated approach and the hybrid approach, and the third one is the container model of Redhat, and probably Amazon Beanstalk. So can you compare and contrast three different approaches and tell me which approach fits where, and what is the advantage of a container approach over the other approaches?
Yeah, I mean, there's many ways to skin a cat, as everybody knows, and the approach of all the different PaaS solutions out there, they satisfy the problem of I need to deploy my app into the cloud. Where Redhat is strong is at supporting a wide array of platforms. Like I was saying, between Perl and Python, Ruby, Java, PHP, Redhat has a lot of internal knowledge and a lot of connections to the communities of all of these different projects, and so it's easy for Redhat, and makes a lot of sense for Redhat to be really a little bit agnostic of the platform, and raise their hand and say, yeah, we'll support everything.
So do you see any specific advantage with this container model over, let's say, the Heroku model, like especially with respect to enterprises?
How do you mean? Can you elaborate?
No, enterprises will be having more legacy applications running on their IT. So like, do you see you're taking a Redhat approach to cloud will help them easily move those applications there, or like, are there any advantages to it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big advantages of OpenShift is that it is Red Hat Enterprise Linux under the hood. So it's got all the SE Linux stuff and the security model in place to make sure that, or as best as we can make sure that when applications are deployed in the cloud, they are hardened, they are secure, and they're on and they're running on machines that Red Hat has made every effort possible to lock down.
Some of the pundits and analysts are saying that PaaS hasn't taken off like how the industry expected. But my thinking is that we are still in the early phase of the cloud adoption model, and it will take at least a year or two before PaaS takes off. What is your take on that, and where do you think PaaS is going?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly at the the bottom of that hockey stick up and to the right. I think the biggest problem is people maybe don't understand what PaaS is or how it can help them. One of the greatest things about PaaS is that developers no longer and DevOps folks no longer have to dork around with the stack. They don't have to install Apache and configure it, and install JBoss and configure that. They don't have to know all the switches to the JVM and how to deploy the JDK and all that kind of stuff. Red Hat has basically packaged all those things up and put them in an environment that lets developers pick and choose with drop downs and checkboxes the things they need, and then the developers just bring their code to the party and onboard the application. In terms of platform as a service in general, I would agree that it maybe hasn't taken off quite like everyone expects, but that's because just developer mindshare. It takes a while to get the flywheel moving. But I really believe once more people start experiencing it and becoming more comfortable with the public cloud, it'll certainly be a more viable solution than people purchasing hardware that they really don't need.
Thank you, David. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.